Hi everyone.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to Thursday night Facebook Live.
Pete and Grada here from
the
Purple House.
And we want to talk about something personal this week. Pete and I were feeling a little bit down and a bit sad for a couple of days. And we didn't know why. And then we realized one of our ducks was dying and she's died now. She's gone. Yep. And so Pete is the animal person. He gets up early and goes around feeding all the animals. We have ducks, lots of ducks, but Pete will tell you about these two in a minute. We've got chooks, a donkey, a miniature donkey and a miniature cow, and cats. No, yeah.
Not such a miniature cow and not such a miniature cat because they're fairly fat at the
They're
moment.
getting fat all the time. If you see us with a supermarket trolley, it's always full of pet food, and then you just see a jar of yogurt or something for Pete and me. Anyway, so it's fun. And Pete, do you want to tell us the history of the two ducks? Give them the short.
Yeah. We inherited these two ducks from a couple, I think from Ulverston, whose backyard I think must have got a bit small for these two ducks. So they wanted a new home for them. They asked us, and they saw that we had a dam and were quite jubilant that their ducks would be coming to a nice home.
Milly and Mildred.
Where they could swim on the dam and be with the other ducks. And so we let them out beside the dam, and they didn't want to go near the water. They waddled up past us right up to the back door of the house, and that's where they stayed, just close as they could to the house. And
they became part of our family, so
they would never be separated. They just stayed beside each other. If one quacked, the other quacked. If one turned one way,
quacking.
the other had turned the same way, and they did exactly the same as each other.
They were white, beautiful white ducks with orange beaks, happy.
Yep.
And we could never figure out if they were boys or girls.
No. Their names were Milly and Mildred, so we're not sure though whether...
I think they didn't have a sex because...
we didn't find any eggs anyway.
No. Yeah. And one time our drake, we've got a big black drake that belongs to the black ducks. He actually humped each white duck. He had one go, and then they wouldn't let him do it anymore, so they didn't enjoy it. So I'm not sure if they were girls or boys. So they were lots of fun to be around, and they were always like quack, quack, quack all day long, and sometimes at night too. And then if they, like one time a plane flew over, and they always moved in synchronicity, so like they would be looking up with one eye. And they gave us a lot of fun, happy.
Yeah, but they didn't know what water was. I got them one time, carried them down to the dam and threw them in, and they were scared out of their wits. They walked on the water and straight to the side. But eventually, after, 18 months, I managed to coax them down with the other ducks and fed them near the dam, and they were happy as Larry on the water after that.
Took them a long time.
We've had them a few years, and they've always been together. And then Milly or Mildred, I'm not sure which one, but she just got slower and slower and limped, and eventually the other morning I couldn't see her anywhere.
So what happened was on Sunday and Monday we realized that she probably didn't have long to live, and I said to Pete, should we take her to Johannan? That's our eldest son, because he's the vet. And Pete said, I could just break her neck, because Pete grew up on a farm and he's doesn't like suffering. So he said then she's out of her suffering. So this is the point we want to make. But we decided to let nature to stand back and let nature run its course. Happy?
Yeah.
But we were really, really worried for the other duck, because they've been inseparable since birth. So Pete, what's happened with the other duck?
Well, the other duck doesn't look or doesn't appear as if she's missed her mate at all. Apparently, I looked up a little bit about ducks, and they aren't a breed that mates for life, but these two were inseparable. They must have been from the same batch.
They were very unusual because they didn't like water, and they were mates for life.
Yeah, but then when one disappeared, the other didn't seem to be worried at all.
So she's sitting near our door, the same as before, and she's looking bright and sprightly, and she quacks a little bit, and she's full of beans.
She follows me down with the other ducks for the feed in the morning, and yeah, she does exactly the same. And we were feeling sad, but she didn't appear to be feeling sad. So I'm positive that we don't see anywhere near what animals and bird life see, because we had cats and dogs, and they used to see things, be looking straight at something, and to us there was nothing there, but
that we can't see with our natural eye. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering whether Milly is just still there, perhaps
in spirit form. Yeah. So
just in another dimension.
And
because Mildred's quite happy,
content, and she's aware. And I've tuned into her energy field, and there was a little bit of distress in her body, because I mean, even if you see, even if you're highly, highly spiritual, you're still in a human body or in an animal body that's capable of feeling, and that it feels loss and sadness and grief and so on. So I cleared it with energy, and it went very, very quickly. So we just want to talk a little bit, Pete, about our impulse initially was to intervene or interfere with the death or the dying process, the letting go process. And we wanted to step in and make it better. And then we both kind of realized it's a sacred process. It's like a real sacred happening.
Who is it better for?
Yeah, are we doing that for us, or are we doing that for the ducks? And so we had to bite our fingers, sit on our hands, and let the process unfold in front of our eyes. And when Peter said, I can just break her neck quickly, and then she isn't suffering anymore. And then I said to Pete, I remember from when I had a near-death experience, and I was hovering on the brink of death for about a whole week after I got hit by a truck. And on the outside, it looks terrible and it looks gruesome. But when you're on the inside, the different chemicals being released in your body, like DMT and so on, is being released, which opens your spiritual eye up, and you can see and feel, become conscious of all the light beings that are around us all the time, by the way. And they're even more so there at the conclusion of life. They're there to guide us back home, you could say. Or
everything seems,
and it's just the most natural and normal thing to do.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. So sometimes I want to say this as well. It is really, really sad, of course, when we lose loved ones. Like today, one of my clients today, she's lost both sons, which would be like the biggest heartbreak ever. I couldn't imagine what that would be like, to continue living your life, you know, with after having lost two sons. And then another one of my clients, she lost her husband when she was 26 or something. She's in her early 60s now, so he drowned. And I mean, we go through life with these incredible heartbreaks, but somehow at the same time, it's also the most normal, natural thing that happens to us and for us. And when people pass over, or animals, they can be closer to us than ever before. And I do really, really believe that they are so close to us, and they just always wrapping their arms around us. And it's more a matter for us to see that, like Milly or Mildred, whoever it is that's still alive at the moment, she still feels whole. She doesn't feel that she's been chopped in half or anything, and they were doing everything in synchronicity, like if one step, the other. It was just so funny to watch. And I really thought she would be like die from misery straight away, but she's actually...
But she wasn't even distressed, she wasn't looking for a mate or anything.
Yeah, so I guess this is just our message today, is that there is a force of intelligence at work in behind the scenes, like under the surface of our being. And that force of intelligence, of course, is you, right, and me, and animals and so on. And that energy form or that force of intelligence or your true essence continues to live even after we step out of this shell, like our alien suit, you can say. And it can be great comfort to know that when you lose a loved one, that person is closer to you than ever before, and it's really there giving you guidance. So I was just for fun thinking, what's my duck trying to tell me today when I was working with my clients, and I sometimes feel all these light beings in the room. Anyway, of course I had to laugh, because what's a duck is meant to be good at, what's the saying?
The water runs off a duck's back.
Yeah, water runs off a duck's back. So that's a good thing to remember. So just sometimes, but actually water didn't run off her back anymore. That's how she got sick. Yeah. Like towards the end we could see.
Feathers weren't waterproof
That's
anymore.
right. Yeah. And so she probably got a chill and then she died. So the message is, of course, always believe in yourself, tune into your true essence, and you'll find peace inside your body.
Whatever happens.
And it's all kind of, if it gets too big for you and too painful, just let go of a little bit and relax into it, like stop resisting what's going on. So I read another story recently, a really, really interesting story about a doctor who had a major accident, and he came off a motorbike and he had a singlet on, and his arm was just full of like big chunks of tissue were gone. You could see his muscles, and it was all filled with gravel and dirt. And he'd also broken his jaw and dislocated it. Anyway, he decided, this is like really different, he decided not to go to the hospital and not let anyone touch his arm, and to trust in his own body, and it was a kind of an experiment.
Not intervene.
So he went home, and he walked around for the first few nights because he couldn't lie, because he was in so much pain, and he was just moving his arm, and then he could watch his arm kind of seal itself over. That would have been the white blood cells, I guess. And then it took months and months, and he was working in the hospital as a doctor, and it looked horrible, and his colleagues constantly wanted to dress his arm, but he wouldn't let them. And after several months, the arm had completely healed over, and it formed a real ugly scar, a scab, a scab, and in that scab was all the gravel and the dirt that was kind of all scooped up, and it was working its way out. And so of course his colleagues and the nurses wanted to constantly
peel it off
and pick at the scab, and he wouldn't let anyone. And after several more months, the whole scab fell off, and the skin underneath was just beautiful, like a baby skin. And then to top it off, his jaw also healed itself. Like initially he couldn't chew and he couldn't talk, and after 6 months he was lying outside in the sun, relaxing in the garden, and suddenly he heard a big clunk, and his jaw came back into alignment, and so his body had completely healed itself. And recently I had a message from one of my clients who receives remote healing. So I work with her. She lives on the mainland, and she said she's had a sore back, so we did some healing there. And then a week later, one night, she heard a big clunk in her back as well, and suddenly, like, her back just clunked into place. So the message tonight is really about trust in the process.
And animals, they'll often just lie and
they know.
Wait. They'll lie under a tree. We had a cat that was bitten by a snake, and she just lay in front of the fire for a whole week, didn't eat or drink.
She didn't smile. She was very miserable.
At the end of the week, she got up and started drinking the water we had put there for her, and she survived.
And she came right. Yeah. So I think it's also a matter of like, stop pretending that things aren't happening, or what am I trying to say here? Be authentic, like be real and be honest with yourself. Stop pretending that nothing is happening, right? Because things are happening. Feel the pain. You can feel the pain. Give yourself permission to rest, to let go. Give yourself permission not to rescue. We like to rescue each other, don't we? We like to rescue our kids, we like to rescue our loved ones, we like to jump in and start interfering with the process. But I think then the situation can easily become toxic. There's like toxic energy because there's like expectations that are not being met, and then you're really interfering with the healing process, which in a sense is sacred. I think the dying process is a sacred experience, and a very, very private experience as well for people. That's why lots of people die by themselves, don't they?
They like to be by themselves.
That's why a lot of people die on the toilet as well.
The ones who are left feel guilty if they are by themselves.
But actually, I think this is what I think.
But that's only because of how
I think a lot of people in the end prefer to have that moment of privacy. It's just between them and their soul, or between you and your soul. And in fact, even with Milly and Mildred, when the one that was dying was by herself in the paddock where she'd chosen to be, when the other one was sitting near our door, so they were even giving each other space and maybe held the space for each other. That's what you can do. So rather than being out there interfering, which is what we've been taught to do, try something different next time and just stay in your own sacred space and tune into your body, which that means you're tuning into everyone else around you as well, and you can share your own beautiful light and make it easier for people around you to heal, and even sometimes to conclude their lives and to pass over into the next realm. And I also think with what's happening with the world, like with our planet at the moment, I think people are becoming very, very more intuitive, and that there is not such a thick wall anymore, like not such a thick barrier between the world that we see with our natural eyes and the world that we can't see, but we could if we had divine eyes, if we could just turn on our divine eyes. I think that is becoming way more transparent, so that's exciting as well. And then I just want to finish with, if you really struggle with what's going on and you find yourself being stressed because of too many changes and can't let go, get stuck into the magnesium always. Magnesium is the great relaxer. And really, whether you're healthy or stressed, you need it all the time. And when you're stressed, you definitely need more.
Just so you can allow things to be. To
let a sacred process unfold. Karma wrap, that's one of my favorites. It's really, really great. You put it on the outside of your skin. And then, of course, calm nature is really amazing too. That keeps you very calm, doesn't it? Some people, they live on this. So they like nutritional support that help you to stay calm and resilient.
We felt sad and a bit stressed. And
I still feel sad, even after telling you all this.
We feel it, but for Milly, she's
probably free, like water is flowing off a duck's back now, probably quacking all the time.
Well, she's probably flying around now, whereas they didn't hardly flew at all. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and hope you feel optimistic and feel happy inside yourself, and stay warm if you're in Australia where it's winter, and just chill out and relax. It's winter time is the time to be staying by the fire and relaxing.
Thanks everyone. Talk to you next Thursday.
Bye.